Well, I hope that you found yesterday's video helpful in talking about the steps to optimal health. Today we're going to talk about the slide to premature death and what the symptoms are, what the steps are to go down to that, and so you can become again aware of things that are happening, and then have the vision and the desire to make the changes that we see up here. So the thing is we talked about why this is a slide, and the reason is because it is so easy to fall into these bad habits. It's so much easier to eat the convenience food than it is to fix something fresh and healthy. um, it's easier to sit on the couch than to go out and take a walk with your kids. So this is what happens though when we start getting into these. Let me get my notes here so I can stay on track, because I tend to wander around. The first one is that you start seeing symptoms when you get on this slide to premature death. And that may be things like headaches. You may find that you catch colds easily. You get infections. Maybe you get an injury. You don't heal quite as quickly. They may be minor and not so much of a big deal. But again, it's kind of like here where you don't feel great and you don't really feel bad. You're just kind of, there. So, but then you start waking up with a headache, or you start waking up with stiff joints or dry skin patches, or you may start to develop a few food allergies or seasonal allergies, and it's just harder to shake them. And so these are symptoms that are happening. Then that may lead to, if you can't arrest it right then, meaning make some changes to stop this process, you're going to go into disease. And I hope you can see that. Let me adjust this camera just a little bit. There we go. And that's where you have more serious things. You may require a visit to the doctor to get some medications. It may require missing work for a few days or a few weeks to recover from an illness. It just you actually, you're sick. You probably may not necessarily end up in the hospital, but you've got some chronic things going on that are requiring daily medication, and daily it's changing your lifestyle because of it. You're just not feeling well. You just don't have the ability to function like you would like to, and so you get that, and then you get into what's the serious diseases. And that's where we talk about the cancers and leukemias and the very debilitating diseases, arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, your diabetes, where it's out of control, heart disease. You find yourself going in for emergency open heart surgery, that type of thing. Very, very serious stuff. And then, of course, the worst is the death. And I don't know about you, but I can tell you that when I sit now and I open up the paper, it used to be that almost everyone in that paper and the obituaries were in their 80s, 90s, maybe their late 70s, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm a long way off from that. But lately, I've been noticing more and more people that are closer to our age. They're in their late 40s and their 50s and early 60s, and that's very unsettling, because to me, that is well, to anyone, that's premature death. You have a lot of life left that you could have lived, and that your family could have shared with you and your children and your grandchildren, but you're not there anymore. And that's one of the costs of having poor health habits, is getting to that point. We're all going to get there at some point, but I would like to get there while I'm having fun and feeling good, and knowing what I'm doing versus all of a sudden, you know, it, you're dealing with months and months and months of pain and treatments and so many things. So let's not go this way. This is no fun, and even though it's a much easier way to go, it's not worth it. And so you want to count the costs. Again, become aware and get that knowledge and have that vision of what you can do. So there's a few things with the symptoms that happen, and they start with toxins building up. And let's see, I guess I can do it up here. Um, and that would be if you've been on antibiotics or you've had a medication, a prescription drug. The thing is those things can sit around in your body for years, especially in your intestinal tract. It can affect that intestinal tract, and it can lead to the beginning of diseases. Antibiotics are a big thing. You think of children who, every time they catch a cold, you know, the mother runs them to the doctor, and the doctor writes out a prescription for an antibiotic, whether they need it or not, because we as parents have been demanding that. We expect that. We go to the doctor, and it's like, well, you have a cold. You're going to get mad if you leave without something to fix the cold. So the doctor writes a prescription, and you go and you give it to him for 5 or 10 days, and it's like, yeah, I've done something. But the thing is, probably that cold would go away even without the medication. And so, you know, again, it's coming but down to something I haven't talked about yet, and that's responsibility. So I've got an interruption at the door, but she has orders not to come in here, so I guess she changed her mind. But so we've got toxins that are building up. It's not just from medications, but also from the water that we drink and from the air that we breathe, the cleaners that we use to clean our home, and also from the foods that we eat, and even the shampoo that we use in our hair, and the cleansers that we use on our skin have toxins in that can put a stress on our body and on our health. So that is the beginning of symptoms and disease. Next, it starts to affect our digestive system. And the it's just the it's not just the digestion, but the assimilation of nutrients into your body. And again, that goes into the colon. If you don't have a healthy intestinal tract, a healthy colon, I've heard statistics of about 78-80% of all diseases start in the colon. So you want to do things to have this very healthy colon. And I hadn't planned on it, but I may just do a video on how to have a healthy colon. And I know that cleanses are a big thing. It's not and that is good, but I believe that cleanses aren't completely the whole answer to having a healthy colon. So so you get these digestive problems, and you think about how many people are on like Prilosec, and they have the acid reflux and all that. This is all just kind of we're moving down the path to on this slide. Next, we come up with, we talked about this already, the colon is weakened. I haven't heard a statistic that, or not a statistic, but it was stated as a fact, and that was that all cancers start in the colon. Now that surprised me. I don't know if that's completely true, but I can understand knowing how critical a healthy digestive tract is to our immune system, and that so many times a very strong, healthy, powerful immune system can prevent cancer. I can see where that could possibly be true. But the thing is we, whether it's true or not, I'd rather err on the side of it possibly being true and then avoid it. And then our cells begin to weaken. So again, we're going down. We'll do it here. And it's our cells that are kind of the foundation of our health. When you take a supplement, if it doesn't get those nutrients don't get in there and actually feed the cell, it's a waste of your money. If you aren't able to digest your food and in your digestive tract cannot break that food down into the smaller particles of nutrients so it can feed your cell, you're um, going to be hurting your health. So you want to keep your cells healthy and eat as much healthy food as you can and give your cells as much nutrients as you can. So then your system starts to get out of balance. And so you just slowly getting a little bit worse. Maybe dealing with inflammation. Major cause of disease, especially health disease, arthritis, all those itis type diseases that you hear about. All the key is the inflammation. You reduce the inflammation, you reduce your chances of getting some of those diseases. And then another big one is stress. If you have chronic stress in your life and you're not dealing with it, you're putting your entire health at risk. Um, the the stress, when you think of it, it's related. There's cortisol. It's a hormone. It's called cortisol. So when you get into this fight or flight reaction, which is very typical of our modern day lifestyle, our body releases cortisol so that your body can take off and run away from that lion that used to chase us when we were cavemen type of things. Sounds kind of funny right now, but the thing is chronic stress continues to break down our bodies, and what cortisol does is it releases fats and glucose into the blood, so it not only weakens our body, it also makes us fat. And a lot of cause of like the abdominal fat that we see is related to cortisol releases. So you want to deal with stress and the reduction of cortisol. So that is what I'm going to share with you today, and I hope that this again is getting you to be aware of what happens if you don't if you're not proactive about your health, and that it's given you some knowledge that you can work for, and that you can see this vision that you don't have to accept disease as a way of life, that you can do things proactively by taking responsibility for your health and not just do anything that you please and then go to the doctor and pull out your checkbook and say, fix me. That's not being responsible. So I hope that this has helped you so far. Tomorrow we're going to talk about these last 5 steps and particularly focus on those 3 there, because I want you to be thinking about 3 goals that you can make in this area of supplementation, exercise, and diet. And I'm going to have a PDF that you can print off and you can write what you're going to do with those 3 goals and what your vision is for reaching optimal health, so that you can start working on it, because a lot of times the hardest step is that very first step to getting started. And so I don't want to just have you absorb this knowledge and listen and say, yeah, that's really good stuff, or maybe you think, oh, I forget it, I don't even want to hear this, I've heard it all before. I want you to actually to start applying some of these things. And so we will see you tomorrow for my 3rd day of talking about our physical health. Bye.